Welcome back to Podcast with a K. I'm your host, Carla with a K. You're listening to 90.1 WECS FM, and I am joined here tonight on this fine Sunday evening by Jesus. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Tired.
This is your first time being on air?
Yep, my first time.
And you're new to the show as well.
Yep.
Straight into the mic, bro.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
We love to see those levels go up. All right, so Jesus, last semester, because it was last semester when we started the show, we kind of had a routine of the things we asked our guests as we got to know them.
Mm-hmm.
You listened to the show?
Yep.
Do you remember what the questions were?
Not really.
Wow, fake fan.
I try my best.
All right, well, the questions that we always asked our guest were, most importantly, what is your zodiac sign?
My zodiac sign, I think it's Sagittarius.
When's your birthday? What day?
December 24th.
I think you might actually be the next one after Sagittarius because the zodiac signs usually change around the 22nd. So I think that would make you a Capricorn,
I've been
Aquarius.
I've been living my life as a lie.
What do you know any of the characteristics that apply to that sign? To Sagittarius, I mean.
For Sagittarius, I know that they always try to put themselves first, but they always try to help their friends out as much as they can.
Would you say that you related to that?
Definitely. I always try to help all of my friends as much as I can.
So, according to the internet, and also just because I was right, I would just like to point out, you are actually a Capricorn.
Wow.
Would you like to hear some of these traits and say if you relate to them?
Yes, please.
All right. So, according to Astrology K, I only chose it because it has K in it, just like Podcast with a K. You're listening to Podcast with a K, in case you forgot. Capricorns are hardworking and determined. Others procrastinate and put off their work, but you're focused on getting things done. You're driven to be successful and work tirelessly to accomplish any task that you seem to deem worthwhile. You take the same determination into your friendships and your family life. And you're loyal, you're an earth sign, which means that you're grounded, which, matches the description above. You're very determined in what you do. Do you relate to a Capricorn?
Yeah, I guess, you
don't have to force yourself to relate to it.
No, I'm just trying to, think of a good way to say it, because, when I want something, I put my eye towards it, and I just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be in my life, in my work, in my career itself. If I really needed to get something in order to push myself further,
yes,
I would. If it's money-wise, I'd be working 60, 70 hours a week, and most of my friends know that because they'll be telling me, hey, let's go do this, but I'll be like, hey, yeah, I'm working a double today.
Yeah.
But
I can attest to that.
But, yeah, no, I can definitely see that. And I definitely feel like I'm grounded because I can take a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I always try to be that person that even though I take a lot of stuff,
right,
I'm still going to be there for you.
Got you.
Regardless.
Understandable. Very interesting. I always like seeing if people actually relate to their zodiac signs and stuff because I've kind of gone back and forth throughout my life. I'm currently in a place where I think that it is very, very much true and it is 100% real. But I know that some people just kind of think they're very vague and generalized. But I'll read through other signs, horoscopes and descriptions, and I do not relate to a lot of them at all.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, a lot of with the daily horoscopes that I don't really understand and I don't really agree with sometimes because I might be a little superstitious and I might feel like it has to agree with exactly what I did that day.
Right.
But when it comes to the terms of the traits and the characteristics we might have, that I truly believe is right.
That's very interesting. We'd love to hear new opinions. I remember our first guest, Jorge, he said he didn't relate to it. And so after the show, I asked him, do you relate to this, and this? And he only related to stuff that was his zodiac sign, nothing else. And I'm like, the stars don't lie.
Yeah. No, you're right. The stars don't lie. it's a lot of stuff with like nature and nurture, but I feel like it's in our nature most of the time.
Yeah, I feel like there are some traits that kind of are inherent to us and who we are.
Definitely.
Another question we used to ask is, what is your major and is your career within that realm?
Yep. My major is I am a health science major with concentration in pre-nursing, which if I didn't the career that I want is aligned within. A lot of people say, "Oh, do you want to be a nurse?" But I don't really. I want to become a physician's assistant.
Oh, interesting.
Get a specialty in surgery. But with the scholarship that I got to come to this university, it just made the right reason financially. And it was like, I mean, I could have gone to another university, but they would have asked me to take out like a $50,000 loan. And I'm like, you're funny.
No, yeah, no, absolutely not. Last question that we asked our guests, and a good way to get us started into this show, is what is a song that you've been listening to recently?
I've been listening to How Do You Sleep by Sam Smith, just on repeat a lot of the time.
What is it about the song that speaks to you?
More of the lyrics that he speaks, basically saying, how can you invest so much time in a person, and yet through all the risk and the dangers that they've been going through, how are you going to risk that relationship that you have? And how they can just be with themselves that way. Because recently I've been talking with someone, and it's been like I've like fully invested my time into that person, and yet now it's like they don't care. Oh, and I'm like, wow. How do you waste somebody else's time to do something like that? It's just like it's not right. But that's what All right. I just spam that song during the sad boy hours.
All right, well, let's have some sad boy hours because, like our good friend who we quote a lot, Yash said, you got to get sad before you get lit. So without further ado, How Do You Sleep by Sam Smith. Coming up in like 4 seconds when it loads up. That was How Do You Sleep by Sam Smith. It's a bop, dude.
Oh my God. I've been listening on that song for repeat for days, weeks, months. Oh.
Into the mic.
Yeah.
Yes. No, it is a good song. I heard it before because it came on like my Spotify Discover, but like it's not a song that I ever stopped to listen to just because like Sam Smith requires a very particular mood, and I just haven't been in a Sam Smith mood recently, or
I'm a Sam Smith mood all the time.
I don't know if that's healthy.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
It's always sad boy hours.
Always.
With just a brief break for being lit.
Yep.
But yeah, really, really good song. I very much enjoyed it. That's another thing I love about this show. I've heard so much new music.
Oh, probably. You got a whole lot of different people, different tastes.
Yeah.
Different songs.
I live for that. I think we've had everything from like old country to bops like this to, everything in between. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the day someone requests a heavy metal song. I think that's the day I stop taking song requests.
Oh, damn.
That was your next plan, huh?
Maybe.
Oof.
Bring some Linkin Park, Evanescence.
Okay, Linkin Park,
Skillet.
Yes. Evanescence,
Skillet.
perhaps.
Oh
I love Skillet. I've seen Skillet live 3 times.
I loved it, especially when I went through my my karate phase and I was doing my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I started to get creative and did my own thing.
Yeah.
I would just blast the music in the studio and just like, yeah.
Oh, really?
It was I'd just be jamming out while practicing.
We love to see it. So what do you mean in the studio? You do music?
I do. I try to write. I try to write lyrics. Sometimes, a lot of the times, it's how I cope when I'm in a certain situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, it might not be everybody's taste in music. Like Sam Smith, like a lot of I've been listening to Sam Smith for years and years, ever since day one. So a lot of my music might kind of not sound like his, of course,
but like you kind of take inspiration from his stuff.
Exactly. I like a lot of it is inspiration for him.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I try to implement it with the guitar and stuff, but lately, with the school and stuff like that, haven't been able to touch the guitar lately.
Oh yeah, dang. So that's kind of not at all what you're studying and trying to go into. Would you consider it to be more of a creative outlet?
Definitely a creative outlet. That
Because you called it like a coping mechanism. So
Yeah.
would you say that having a creative outlet helps you, like, is your coping mechanism?
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely for me, because growing up, there have been a lot of stuff in my life that have brought me down. A lot of stuff in my life that brought me down. So
Right.
that music, I would just go into my room after school some days, sometimes forget about my homework and just go play music of myself, write my own lyrics, just start jamming out, and just, it's how I let those feelings out that I don't want to be expressed in the world.
Right. So you create more for yourself than for for fame, attention. Like, because I know a lot of people record covers and post them to YouTube because they want kind of to be known for their music, but there are others that just kind of keep it to themselves.
Yeah. No, I definitely, when I write the lyrics, it's more for myself and exactly what I'm feeling in that situation. But I've always wanted to try to make a cover and post it and see reactions, because I feel like I can sing, maybe.
Right, sure.
But I mean, everybody feels that way. But for me, I just wanted to try it out.
Yeah.
Like that, because you never know. I might be the next.
Whoever.
Yeah, next Sam Smith. You never know.
Of course.
But.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely try. I've always wanted to make a cover, especially one of my other favorite songs, Demons by Imagine Dragons. I've always wanted to cover that song.
Right.
And then I have a friend that can play that song perfectly on the piano, and
I've
been
that.
always asking her, hey, we need to record something. Like,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I've always wanted to try that.
It's interesting the way that people use music to help them. I also very much consider music to be like one of my best ways to deal with things. But I used to write a lot more. Then somewhere along the line, I was like, I kind of hate writing. And so now, like, I'll pick a song that kind of describes the mood, whether it's the lyrics or the music, like the vibe, and I'll just kind of like play that to myself. I rarely post music. I do sometimes, but not anywhere near as much is it like a public thing as it used to be when I was younger. But my sister writes originals, and so like of course she has like songs that she learns to play and stuff, but she like you, she writes out what she wants, and whether or not she like publishes it immediately, like eventually like her plan is to like, be like, hey, I wrote the song, everyone listen to it.
No, and then yeah, definitely I've definitely have to link up with you and your sister, because yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to try that, and I've done it once back in my high school, and I performed, and I don't know if it was because of the nerves or stuff, but I kind of got laughed at in front of the whole school.
Oh no.
But
yeah, the audience will always know when you're nervous.
Yeah, definitely. So, but I mean, you get knocked down, you get back up.
Yeah, and that's something that I've not personally, thankfully, have not had to deal with, but I have witnessed it happen where, someone will have the courage to put their like skills or put their feelings, put their heart on the line, and then the audience just kind of takes it at face value without appreciating the fact that someone went up and did that. And it sucks to see, because it's like, dude, someone literally decided, hey, have a peek inside my mind, and you're gonna sit here and like be like, ha, what a loser, you're out here, having feelings. Yeah,
definitely. But I mean, it makes you into the person that you are today. Like,
yeah, you're not
definitely
wrong.
That back in high school, that's how I used to be too.
Yeah.
Like I would really much care about other people's opinions, this isn't this, but lately I'm in my senior year of college. Like at this point, it's what I want.
You've done a lot of growing.
Exactly. It's more of like
growth.
It's more, I am doing this for me.
Right.
Whether you care about it or not, that's great. If you're here, that'd be amazing. But I'm doing this for me and for my life.
Yes, and that's a really good viewpoint to have, especially because, like you said, now you write music for yourself. It is your outlet, and once you kind of take ownership of your own actions and your own like ways of dealing with things, it's super powerful, because no one can take that from you, because it is your own. Exactly. You're not doing it for anyone else, so you don't give anyone else the privilege of deciding for you how you feel.
Exactly.
What's the quote? No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. I feel like that was on a poster in one of my classrooms at some point in life.
I'm not sure.
Anyway.
But I mean, that relates to, have you ever heard of NF?
Yes.
His and his music, like that's like that. It shows me that, because he's not like an entirely mainstream rapper, I would say.
Oh no,
But
but so underrated.
He's extremely. He's one of the most amazing lyricists I've heard of.
Yes.
Honestly, when I play his music, of course during Sad Boy Hours.
Of course during Sad Boy Hours.
Every single lyric, every single word, every single letter you can relate to, whether it be in your life, in work, home, school, wherever. Like you can relate to it because he puts that time in, and it's his own thing.
Right.
So no one can make fun of him because I mean, NF is also an acquired taste. He really is.
His music kind of borders on, I would dare call it indie a little bit, like the vibe of it. But it's a cool like mix between genres.
Yeah. Definitely.
And the lyrics are deep.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, yeah, he's an acquired taste, but for me, it's like, it's not so much. I mean, of course, his music to me sounds amazing, but it's more about what's behind the lyrics that he's saying, the meaning of it and everything. It's like, to me, that's what really drew him to me. Most.
And that is an artist that expresses like his emotions through his music. I have a friend that was also talking about that. Like she was like, yeah, and you know, if you ever read his backstory, you kind of understand like why he is how he is, and like why he's like, you know, keep it real, and why he keeps it real with his fans and with his listeners. And so that's something that is really admirable in artists, is whenever they're open about what they're talking about, because you know, people can relate to different parts of different songs for whatever their personal reasons are, but once you know the motive, it just kind of, it's like, wow, other people also have to go through things. Obviously it's not like I want everyone to suffer. It's more so like, I'm glad that this is a normal thing and not just me that's feeling it.
It helps you step out of your body and your situation.
It kind of helps validate.
I'm not alone.
Yeah,
it definitely helps that. And he like you said, like he's really open about it. A lot of his, even in his songs and his lyrics, he like, it would be great if you read the backstory, but sometimes you don't even need to. It says it in the songs.
Yeah, he's very transparent.
Exactly. He had a song named Therapy Session, explaining to people, this song might not be for anybody, but it's for me.
Yes.
Mostly.
And it's really cool that he decided to, you know, be a public figure, because like here we are talking about it and how we can relate to different aspects of his music. And like, it does help to know that it even helps to know that someone that's struggling can reach this level of notoriety and be able to like touch other people's lives.
Exactly.
Yeah, music's powerful.
Yeah, music's amazing.
Probably.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yes.
The only reason why I know the 20th is Saturday is because the 27th is the Bastille concert.
27th is the Bastille concert, and I'm so excited. Speaking of music being powerful, Bastille is a band that, you know, has been important to me forever. When Pompeii came out, I was like, oh, this is a bop. And this was during a time when YouTube was where you went to get music. So I would go to the artist Vivo and then like click through and like watch their other videos, especially the ones that didn't have as many views, just to be like, why didn't this get as many views? Is it not good, or is it just not like the vibe? Is it underrated? And in Bastille's case, it's just, they're so underrated. They're one of those bands that like music snobs will be like, oh, you know, their music all sounds alike. It's like they use the same 4 chords, same chord progressions. They're just not innovative. But I enjoy their aesthetic a lot. And I was super excited to see Happier come out because it put them back in the spotlight.
It did.
As they deserved. Broke records, stayed at the top of the charts for like a million years, and they came out with a new album in June, I think on my birthday or the day after. And
Doom
Days is described as an apocalyptic party album, which honestly describes it so well. It's so good. I love Bastille. They are the sound of my heart. But yeah, they'll be playing here in Connecticut on Friday, and your girl got tickets and roped Fio, my roommate, and Jesus into going as well. And did you listen to Bastille before?
I did. It started with Pompeii, and not every single song that came afterwards, but Pompeii really hit the heart. It was like, especially during, what year did Pompeii come out?
Pompeii, 2013 or so, 2013,
right? Something like that.
I was in high school,
yeah,
I think,
no,
or middle school.
I definitely remember coming back home. I think it was high school.
Let me look this up.
Yeah.
This is important. I can't believe I don't know.
But I do remember coming back and like
2013, yeah.
Oh, I thought so. But I definitely do remember coming back and singing that song. Like the melodies, like people might say it's
harmonies.
The same. The harmonies is what. Oh my god! I've been trying to mimic that harmony for I don't even know how long.
There's just so much that goes into their songs, and I remember reading an article where the frontman, like, he didn't used to want to be the frontman. Like, obviously he was the lead singer, but when they performed, they would all kind of like stay on the same spots on stage. And at some point he was like, hey, I was thinking about, standing at the front of the stage. And his bandmates were like, yes, that's the point of a frontman, go. But yeah, continue, sorry.
But no, I forgot where I was going.
You were singing to Pompeii, the harmonies.
Yeah, no, I mean, basically the harmonies, it's just, that's what really drew me to them.
Yeah.
I mean, even before the lyrics, like when Pompeii came out, it was the harmonies. Oh, I mean, I'm about to repeat that like 20 more times.
Because the harmonies are amazing.
They really are.
And Pompeii is one of those bands where their lyrics all have meaning, but you can apply it to, as many songs, you can apply it to your life however you want. But they do have songs, obviously as a pop-ish band, they have like your typical love songs, etc. But they do have a few songs that take on a more political tone, which is super cool and super interesting because you can either take it at face value as a, pop bop, or you can actually sit there and analyze it. And of course, Genius, the lyric site, helps you break the songs down, which I love.
Definitely.
It's interesting that you mentioned Skillet earlier because Skillet did that too, because they're a rock band, but low-key a Christian band. And so a lot of people don't even realize that because they used to play like the rock music festivals, and then they'd be like, whoa, wait, this is Christian rock, what?
When I first started listening to it, I was like, it's a little bit aggressive to be Christian rock.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, I remember having heard like the myths of Skillet being a Christian band, and I was like, that's not real. And then they played Winter Jam, and I was like, oh shoot, that's really cool.
Whispers in the Dark really like showed me, like I had to look into it because it was like after listening to that song, I was like, this cannot be a Christian band.
But they are.
Which
it's good if you are, and if you're not Christian, you can still enjoy the bops because music is music.
But you know who else I'm obsessed with?
Who?
James Arthur.
James Arthur. I have to say, I only know like the 2 songs that went viral.
He had Say You Won't Let Go.
Yep.
He had another song called Naked. James Arthur, and then there was one more song I forgot. It was about him coming out to his parents. I forgot the name of it. I have to look it up, but it was basically about him coming out to his parents and not knowing what was going to happen, and like the being afraid of what was going to happen. Oh no, that was Callum Scott. I apologize.
Wow.
But they sound somewhat alike, James Arthur.
They
and
have
Callum
a similar
Scott.
vibe, yes.
But yeah, no. When he said "Say You Won't Let Go," I remember I was in my room and I literally learned the song within the next 20 minutes.
That's funny.
I was like, and then I just started playing it. The first person I played it for was one of my good friends, Jenny Zamudio, and I definitely like. Now almost every single time I have my guitar, she's like, play that song, and
That's
I'm like,
funny.
But no, that song really hit the heart. It was basically that you have this love for someone and you guys basically have not like talked about it. But even though you guys are not together, that person still wants you to stay as if you were together.
Yeah, that song made everyone spend the entire season in their feelings, for sure. Well, I wish I had a better segue other than let's change topics, but we've talked about music for like a good half hour. And we did have another topic that we wanted to touch on, which is networking and the relationships you build in college. Oh, that would have been a good segue. Speaking about relationships, let's talk about... ignore the last like 10 seconds. Oh, hey, speaking about relationships, let's talk about the relationships that you build in college and how networking is an important skill for your life.
No, definitely.
Nailed it.
Because when I came to Eastern at first, like back in high school, I had my friends. I had embarrassing moments like when I sang for the entire high school and got laughed at. But back in high school, I was a very like shy person, kept to myself, had my headphones on all the time, 24/7. And then when I came to Eastern, no one really told me about networking, but I was just like, boy, you need to get your life together. You have a brand new fresh start.
Right.
So like day one, I've talked to so many people. I joined OLAS.
OLAS is the Organization of Latin American Students, for those of y'all that don't know or aren't, students here, because this is a community station. Hello, people driving home from wherever you are.
And OLAS had my heart ever since then. They still have my heart today. And yet, like, making those connections, for example, like, one of my good friends, she graduated a couple years ago. Her name is Marley. She got me the job that I have today in the nursing home.
Oh, wow.
And without her, I wouldn't have known about it. Like, they didn't have any job postings. She put in a good word for me. And I mean, now I have a good job that I don't have to work as often, stuff like that, especially being in college.
So that really helped you out.
Yeah. And now I'm starting to make connections now. Well, I've been making connections before for graduate school because them shits is hard.
Oh, I bet.
Having to make those applications, getting those letters of recommendations, doing all that on top of you being a senior at your college, being the last year, having it be bittersweet.
Yeah.
Worrying about the fan. It's like a lot of stuff that builds on top. But because you made those connections in the beginning, it brings a lot of weight off your shoulders.
Oh, for sure. You get to meet a lot of interesting people from all pages of life as well, especially and it's not just students too. Your professors are great resources, but it is important to, get to know who's around you, because you never know who you could help out or who could help you out or who people are going to be. And also it's easier to get to life when you're not alone.
Exactly. Like, I know a lot of times when I was growing up, and sometimes my family would be like, sometimes I wouldn't have a lot of friends, and my family was like, oh, it's okay, you don't need them, you have your family. But of course you have your family, but when you get into a situation like this, when you're so far away from your family,
oh, for sure,
and you need to make a fresh start here, like, you just start clinging on to the people that you can trust and you can hold and love, like you're very good friends here,
right? Like
stuff like that. I mean, the very first day that I joined OLAS, I know most of you know Dora, and shout out to Dora. And she was one of my best friends ever since the start. Like, she was there for me. She helped me with the opportunities I needed. Me and her started the dance team together, and it was like, we tried to do the best that we can.
Join Latinx Sensation if you like dancing to Latin music or want to learn.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Hit us up. Follow us on Instagram.
Speaking about following, follow the podcast at PODKASTXK. That's podcast by K on Twitter.
Yep, follow both of us.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, you'll never know what opportunities you can get and you can give. Even like, it's not only about, oh, you're gonna give me this opportunity too. No, it's about, you'll never know. I have a friend that is friends with Tori Kelly.
What?
And you like, maybe your sister wanted to be the next top singer, and I could be like, hey, here's my friend. She's like family members of Tori Kelly. I'll put you in contact.
Wild.
Stuff like that. And yeah, and it's like, you'll never know what could happen. I don't know why I don't use her and help me become a better singer.
I mean, if you use your resources, right?
Exactly. But that's how you get resources and stuff like that, because getting through in life is great, but you can't do it alone. Some people will do it, but they always need the support from their friends, the support from their families to get through life and be the best that they can be, honestly.
Yeah, that is very true. It's also very important to, realize that you never know who's just like a step away. Like you said, you have a link to someone who's in the industry. And even if it's obviously, don't use people. That's
of course,
whack.
I wouldn't do that.
But like, that's someone that could help you and like tell you how they got to where they got. And obviously it's a stroke of luck, but also like you have to work for it. Like my film professor has worked on a lot of big Hollywood movies, and he told us like the list of like movies, and we're just like, bro, I've seen that movie. He edited that. And now he decided to become a professor because he wanted to be what he didn't have, which was someone that actually knew the industry and how to get into it. So like it is a key to have people that know what they're doing, because you can like hype your friends up. You can take people's advice that know how to get from point A to point B, but in a very vague general sense. But having a direct connection to someone that knows what's up, that's important. So like also it's not wasting your time, but like don't spend so much time doing the smart thing other than what you like, your passions, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because like obviously you care about music, but that's not like your main goal.
Yeah.
And so like if you ever were to decide to pursue music, it would be good if you already kind of knew what you had to do.
Exactly.
beforehand.
You already had the connections to get into the industry.
Yeah. Ask around, see who you know that might know a little bit more than you about something, and you could definitely use that to your advantage.
Mm-hmm. And it never hurts to go and talk to somebody and say, hey, I need help with this, because I mean, and all my friends know they need help. They can come get me. They can come talk to me, especially the ones that are trying to go into the medical field.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know everything, but at the point that I am, that a lot of them are going to be in this position later on, I could tell you, do this, and this. It'll make your life a whole lot easier, because I never really had somebody there to tell me, oh, you need to take these classes, you need to do this, and this in order to make your life easier. No one was there for me like that. I mean, we came here as scholars, and they threw me in. I was like, I will try my best, but
yeah.
But yeah, I want to be the resource that other people need.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it also makes me feel kind of happy and be like, hey, nice to see you again, stuff like that.
It's so fulfilling to be able to like be there for someone else.
Definitely. And it's like,
especially with things that matter.
Exactly. Something, especially with careers and helping people. Like I've talked to numerous people that needed not only like career help,
Mm-hmm.
they also needed personal help.
Yeah.
Like I always try to be there for my friends. I always try to help y'all, because I want to be that support system for other people the same way that they're there for me.
Yeah. It's really cool to I saw a quote at some point that's like, be the person that you need in your life.
Exactly.
So it's somewhere in between leading by example and something about treating others the way you want to be treated. I don't know how to phrase it in a more eloquent way, but it is important. How many times are we going to say it is important to you? But no, it is good to look within and be the person that you know you could be, live up to your full potential, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. I haven't heard the golden rule in years.
Haven't you? It's in my head because last week we analyzed like cliched quotes, and that was, I think that was one of them. If not, it was one of the ones that we had discussing.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that since like 4th grade.
Do you live by it?
No, definitely I do. It's the golden rule for a reason.
Of course. You just don't hear it every day.
Yeah, that's true. And it was just like a little poster on every single classroom in my middle school. And it was like, well, okay then. I mean, it's the golden rule. Got to follow it. But it's also the right thing to do.
Definitely.
You got to have that integrity.
Integrity. That's a really good way to summarize the purpose of that.
Mm-hmm.
Being genuine.
Yeah, because now doing what's right is not always... Ooh, voice crack. Doing what's right is not always in your best interest. But if you're gonna do what's in your best interest, it's not very. You won't have that much integrity, because it kind of seems you're being kind of selfish and greedy to do only what you want.
Yeah.
But you need to have that integrity to keep your word and try to help others.
Oh, I like that. That's a really wholesome viewpoint to have on life.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's going to be situations that you need to find the right thing for yourself, but in those situations...
A good balance of both.
Exactly. But not something that'll make you seem selfish or greedy. Like, just do the right thing. Yeah.
And also, it's something that people, I feel, don't always think about consciously, Mm-hmm. You kind of stay on autopilot a lot in the way you interact with the world. But I feel like most people catch themselves, like, saying or doing something that's like, I could have probably gone about that in a better way.
Yep. I definitely felt that. Definitely done that a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just need to keep that integrity. That's going to be my phrase now. Integrity.
Keep your integrity. We love integrity. I was going to ask something about what you were saying.
I'm an open book.
Oh, No, I was gonna say, have you always thought this way, or is this something that you learned because you said that coming to college, you kind of were like, it's time to reinvent yourself, fresh start, fresh page.
Pertaining to
To
the integrity and stuff like that.
yeah,
I've always been, even when I was little and I was younger, like whether it be with my family or with my friends, I've always tried to do what was right. Because it's going to be a situation this situation is going to stick with me throughout my life. Like I remember my parents put me in a summer camp. I was maybe 5 years old. And basically something happened on the camp, and there was like a child that was made some racial comments, this and this.
Oh,
and
wow.
they asked me, we need you to tell us what was going on and what was happening. And I mean, I did, because it was
Right.
it was the right thing to do. I'm not just gonna keep my mouth shut because somebody wanted to speak ill about other people that way.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, people are gonna think of it as snitching, tattletelling, say what you want, but it's what the right thing was to do at that time.
Right.
Because what that person did was not right. And
Exactly.
basically, and then I guess psychologically speaking, they said good job. They rewarded me for it, just like with compliments, and psychologically speaking, they helped me, and that stayed
And
with
you know
me my
what's
whole
interesting?
life.
We talked about that last week too, about the fine line that there is between, I guess what you could consider snitching and just kind of your moral responsibility to do what's right.
Exactly. That's the one thing I struggled with my whole life.
Is it?
Yeah, because I mean, if I'm about to say something to someone because I don't like you, then
Right.
I mean that's obviously not right. That's snitching or whatever you want to call it. But
Yeah.
if it's because somebody is going to get hurt mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, you need to do your part and step in and be like, hey, no, that's not right.
It's like do no harm but take no fill in the blank with whatever you want.
Do no harm and
that's the quote.
do the right thing.
Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting that not everyone has that perspective too, because some people are like, not my business, staying in my lane. But it's like, to what degree is it not your business or staying in your lane, because especially now with the idea of cancel culture, people are so quick to be like, look, they did something wrong 50 million years ago. But if someone were to like do that to them and like go through their social media and try to find something problematic, then it would be like, that was forever ago, it doesn't apply anymore. But like, what do you do when it's like in the now, when you see someone actively doing something or actively not doing something to prevent someone else from doing something bad?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm gonna say I'm human. We make mistakes. There have been moments where I wanted to do something, and then I just didn't.
Right.
Because at that time and moment, the right thing to do, to me wasn't very in my best interest, and I just gave in at that point. Yeah. And I just did what was in my best interest instead of doing the right thing. Wow. And I'm gonna admit that has happened. We're all human,
of course.
But I learned from that mistake, and just try to recuperate and become a better version of myself after that.
Balance out your karma.
Yeah, karma.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. It's like the what is the train track dilemma, where you have to switch the track whether there's one person on the track or 5 people on the other track. Yeah. But like the one person is someone in your family or one of your friends or something, so it's like who gets got.
Yeah. It's I
maybe not to that extreme.
I kind of remember it's like something else that's like that. It's like, would it be better? Would you kill one person to save millions of others? Yeah,
and it's like, but I remember the train thing just because like it puts emphasis on it's one person that So like you said, one of these situations affects you, but the other situation affects them way more than just you, because it often goes that like there's the butterfly effect, everything has like a ripple effect of consequences, and not always is the good thing for you the right thing for everyone, or vice versa.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why you just gotta have integrity.
Yeah. And own up to like what your choice was. Yeah. And why, because obviously, like you said, we're all human, we all make choices that we regret, but you have to be able to do that to an extent to where you're able to live with yourself. Exactly. For doing what you do.
And there are people out there today that just do everything in their self-interest, and they go home and they beat themselves up about it. And that's why a lot of times we have people with psychological problems nowadays. They get depression, they get this, and this, and, you know, they might not make the right choice in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so many people keep it in. They've made a mistake. Okay, you're human. They keep it in and they hold it in.
Right.
When they always need that one person to reach out to, be like, hey, I made a mistake.
Yeah. So you're saying that, like, people kind of just, they'd rather hold themselves accountable, but also, like, they kind of punish themselves over something?
Yeah, something like that. Because, like you said, in that moment, they might not have made the right choice.
Yeah.
And they might been guilty or selfish at that point. But that's, in that moment, that's what they wanted.
Right.
And yet, later on, that's, like you said, they're going to punish themselves. Like, they're going to say, oh, I should have helped this person do this, or, oh, okay, I should have helped Jesus when he was being laughed at in front of the whole school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's just what they want to do in that moment, honestly.
Yeah.
But
on the other side, however, you have the people that kind of act without any sort of, I don't want to say regret, but, like, they don't second guess their actions, you know? Like you said, people kind of act in their own, out of the best interest for themselves.
some people just don't care.
Do you think that some people don't care, or do you think they just care less than they do about their own repercussions, like how it affects them? Because I feel like everyone cares, except for, you know, psychopaths, sociopaths, whichever one it is. I feel like people do care. It just what it comes down to is what they care more about, you know?
I'm going to be honest, because there are people in my family this way, and there are some people in my family this way that they'd rather do what they want for themselves rather than try to help others. Like,
and you don't think that it's something that they consider? Like, you don't think they weigh their options? You think people just, they are inherently selfish?
Sometimes some of them I do think. It's only like one or two people. It's like not my whole family, because I mean, I hope they didn't pass that down to me. But no, definitely I do think that there are some people that would do something and not regret it later on, because they would definitely be like, hey, I made this choice for a reason, and just not care afterwards.
Yeah.
They don't really care about the consequences, or sometimes they won't even get consequences, or they won't be punished.
Yeah, some people do kind of live in a bubble above that, which is interesting. So, do you think that comes down to the nature versus nurture thing? Like, if they're never held accountable for being selfish, they'll just continue to be selfish because they don't know any better?
Yeah, I do definitely think that it does come down to that, but I think it's more of nurture rather than nature. Because yes, you might, I mean, there are some people in my family that are like that way, but you don't see that being passed down to me. I hope I'm not like that in the future, but I like the way that my mom and my dad raised me to grow up to the person that I am today is what the person I am today. Like, I do have some tendencies that I see is nature, but it's not to that extent, because I do believe that if somebody is raised like that and they've never been punished, or they don't get repercussions, stuff like that, they're gonna go out and do what they want. I have some friends that I know right now that are just like that. They're in a situation, they go and they do what they want, but they don't think about the repercussions, and they feel like they're in that bubble that they don't need to care until later on. Yeah, they're gonna punish themselves for being that guilty.
So you think that they just don't care now, but they will care later? Or do you hope that they will grow into people that care?
I think it's hope. I hope. No, but yeah, I do know some people that, like you said, they don't care now, but they will care later. I know a lot of people like that. So
you're psychic now is what you're saying?
I'm definitely psychic. I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're thinking.
What am I thinking right now? Go.
Tacos.
No, I'm thinking that...
Bastille.
Yes, I'm actually thinking about the concert. No, well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
I was thinking about tacos.
Were you?
My bad.
It's not taco hours anymore, dude.
Taco Bell.
No, so the nature versus nurture thing, and like people caring now versus caring later and why and all that stuff. I feel like I don't disagree with you, but I disagree with you. No, not to a full extent. So I do hope that people grow and kind of are able to look back on their actions and, like you said, kind of learn from their mistakes, kind of evolve and be like, wow, I really did that, huh? Guess I won't do that next time. But I would like to think that even in the moment, people do care to a certain point, but just unfortunately not, they're just not successfully balancing it if they don't come off that way. But I think another viewpoint that we haven't considered is people that do the right thing or people that do good, not because they genuinely care, but because of how it makes them seem. Because earlier you said something that made me think of it. I think you said to make them seem not selfish. I don't remember, but like something like that. And
I think so.
That I feel like is another interesting thing, because maybe there are some people that act like they don't care, but genuinely they do care. And I think that's what you're touching more on, right? Like they do what they do like in public or in the moment, but then they go home and they're like, oh man,
but
that's
deep down
something
in their
that
hearts,
happened.
they might, definitely.
So the opposing viewpoint would of course be pretend you care, but don't actually. Which I feel like is more unfortunate.
Yeah, that's where the fake friends come in. That's another topic.
That's a whole nother topic. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do definitely see that, because there are people out there that they kind of stonewall everybody, but yet deep in their head, deep in their hearts, they're thinking about someone.
Yeah.
I definitely see that.
Yeah. And then going to the nature versus nurture thing, I think we've talked about it either on the show before or, in planning for the show, and it just never managed to be fit into the show. But I know that I've also had this conversation just in general, because I'm friends with a lot of interestingly philosophical people, something like that. But I feel like it's not about, I think the conversation was about being inherently good versus inherently evil, which is, one of those moral, ethical dilemmas that people be out here talking about. Yeah. But I either saw like a special or read an article or something, but basically, and I think this is probably the most true, is that people aren't inherently good or evil, but they're inherently selfish. And that's something that you have to learn
how to balance that.
To balance, yeah. Because, like, especially, like, for example, when you're a baby, you know that you want food, you know that you want sleep. And if you don't get it, since you're a baby and you don't know how to speak or ask for things, you just start wailing.
You're going to piss off your parents.
Right. But then as you grow up, you're taught, like, you don't always get what you want when you want it. You have to be considerate, respect others, think about how your actions affect others. And so you kind of learn to, even though it's more about not being selfish and being considerate, but also like don't entirely disregard your needs, right? It's about need versus want, and it's also about what you have access to and how getting that would affect someone else, right? Because like say that you're hungry and the kid next to you, because now you're in kindergarten, you're no longer a baby, has like like the fruit gummies, right? Or fruit snacks or whatever they call it, or cake, whatever. You can't just reach over and grab, be like, I'm hungry, I want that now. You have to ask for it. Have you really? Rude. Oh my goodness. SMH.
Yeah, no, I've done that. I remember.
As a 5-year-old or like as a now adult?
No, not, well, actually. Next topic. But no, yeah, I do remember, I think it was like in 2nd grade, where this kid, like, at that point, like, I didn't have the food that I wanted. Like, my parents are trying to give me really healthy food, and I'm like, no, I want junk food.
Wow.
And then this kid next to me had some kind of chips or something. I'm like, I like took one. I was like, oh, thank you.
Jesus is selfish confirmed, but if we learned anything, is he's gonna go home and regret that he ever told the story on air about stealing fruit snacks.
Shit. You're right. But yeah, no, as a child, I definitely was selfish. My parents would tell me I'd be running around asking for stuff all day long, and I was a bad child.
I was a good kid. But yeah, you kind of like learn how to balance that, right? And then you, as you age, you learn to apply that to other parts of your life, not just like material things. But like when you're asking for someone's time or attention, like it's not just about you, right? Everyone has their own like life to live, and everyone has their own things to deal with, and it's about balancing the selfish side of you and the, I guess, considerate side of you, should you so have one, which I hope you do.
I've actually never heard that viewpoint before, whether, like you said, like being inherently good or inherently evil, but it's actually balancing.
You're just inherently selfish.
I've never heard that viewpoint before.
I'll have to look it up because it's definitely not the first time it's been mentioned on the show. I just don't remember if we had the discussion on air. I'm going to have to listen back through the logs of the old shows because I have that. But yeah.
But that's definitely a topic.
And I really want to know what the source of that is, because I want to know if it was a study or just something I read or just something someone at some point said, like on YouTube or something like that. But yeah, I feel like that's the most true because, I mean, you can't really classify good or evil either because there's a lot of gray. It's not black and white, right?
Exactly. There's so much gray area.
And I know I've had this conversation in these past few days with a few different friends. There's a difference between being a good person and a nice person. And it kind of goes back to this about...
I mean, no, definitely. Because being a nice person, I might just tell you what you want to say.
Right.
What you want me to say. Being a good person is just telling you the honest truth.
So you think the truth is good?
Yes. The truth is always good. Don't lie to me.
What if someone lies to you to protect you from being hurt because they didn't want to hurt you? Are they being good or are they being nice?
I feel like the person is being selfish because they don't want to hurt me.
How are they being selfish because they don't want to hurt you?
Because...
Would you not say that they're being considerate because they don't want you to be hurt?
But in life, you're going to get hurt.
Yes, but they don't want to be the ones that hurt you. Are you saying they're being selfish because they don't want to carry the weight of having hurt you?
Yes, because I mean, from the person that's telling them the truth, their view at that viewpoint, it depends on the situation, of course. But how do I say this? Definitely, if I'm the person telling you the truth, be like, I don't know, like, you tell me, Jesus, you need to dye your hair, and I'll be like, no, like, I don't know where I was going with that.
I mean,
no, but basically, if the person that's telling the truth, I feel like they're gonna get inherently selfish because they don't want to say it because they don't want to get in trouble, kind of. Because regardless, I feel like the truth is what matters most, whatever. And if the person gets hurt, they're gonna get hurt. Depending on the situation, it's gonna be for a couple minutes,
depending on
days.
the situation, it's not black and white. No. There's so much gray.
Okay.
See?
Okay. I was gonna say, depending on the situation, how long they're gonna be hurt for.
There's just so many factors to consider.
It's true.
That's why I'm saying it's more so selfishness than good or evil.
Yeah.
No. And it's not being good or nice, it's just being real.
Yeah.
No, keep it 100. All right. Well, as our time draws to a close, give us another song to add to our playlist if we don't already have it, or just to end the night with a bop.
Me?
Yes, you. Who else? There's no one in the studio.
Then here comes Señorita by Camila Cabello
and Shawn Mendes.
You give me loving.
All right, that was Señorita by Camila Cabello and Shawn Mendes. Jesus, any closing thoughts or remarks before we sign off for the night?
Just thank you for having me on the show.
Of course. I hope you had a good time here.
No, yeah, it was fun. Really fun.
First time on the radio, first time on the podcast. Again, follow us at podKast by K. That's PODKASTXK on Twitter.
Feels weird hearing myself talk.
Well, get used to it because you just might have to return.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to 90.1 WECS FM. This has been Podcast with a K. This is Carla with a K, signing off. We'll see y'all next week at the same time on the same station with new nonsense and a new guest. Have a fantastic week.
Peace.